talk about the VOD and the silver screen. Kevin and Tom and Joe know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 785, Funeral for a Friend. For my classic rock peeps.
Oh,
They'll get that.
good.
It was not a comic book reference.
I was like, oh.
I didn't get that one, so
I went with the comic
I'll
book
look
reference.
it up later.
Elton John has a very long song, a great song, one of my favorites from him, and it's like in two parts, and it opens with this really long just instrumental piano thing called Funeral for a Friend, and then / it rolls into a song called
I don't know.
I'm still standing.
Love Lies Bleeding.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Well done.
So,
I couldn't remember. I knew that existed, but I couldn't remember what it went into. That's
Yeah.
fine.
That's pretty good.
but yeah.
Good job.
So, anyway, I guess let's go around the table and everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
And this is Tom. Quick shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, TuneIn, YouTube. Wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review because our egos are fragile.
It would be nice if we
Yeah.
could get some new ones that weren't 1-star reviews.
They're woke.
It always makes me. Okay, first of all, at this point, I just don't give a shit. It's been
Yeah.
over 10 years. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of reviews. Whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But when someone listens to one episode
Right.
out of 800,
Right.
and they don't like what you say on one episode and gives your show 1 star out of 5 or half a star out of 5, it's like, I don't think that's what the ratings are for.
Oh, I disagree. Apparently, that's what everybody
Yeah.
thinks the ratings are
Well,
for.
right, but it's just like I look at that and it's like, how do you even give that? That's so clearly.
Yeah. Also,
someone that's
how
just
dare you spoil Dune 3?
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Right.
I listened to the
Especially,
episode.
especially when twice before I give spoilers, I go spoilers.
Right.
I say it before
But
the
also,
thing.
how old is that book?
50.
Like 50.
You don't
years.
get you get a pass
Yeah.
on that.
The
it's
whole
like,
point
it's like
was the-
spoiling the end of Citizen Kane.
Yeah,
Like,
the whole point was I was trying to talk about the influences that Dune has had on other popular culture,
Right.
and then theorize where the third movie will go. And the second movie takes such a split from the book that I was trying to theorize what direction they would go. So I had to talk about what direction they did go.
Sure.
To talk
No,
about
hey,
the
look,
differences.
man. I fully support what you did. I don't think
Yeah.
it is not that
No,
big a
and that's
deal.
what I'm saying. I don't really care, but I do think it's funny when someone gives your entire podcast. They're not rating the episode. You've listened to one podcast and disagreed with what they said. So their show now is a 0.5 out of 5
What you
stars.
don't know is he listened to all 800 episodes. And
Oh, he
was
made
like,
an informed decision. Oh,
Yeah,
well, that's good.
I have no
Yeah.
doubt.
Oh,
I have no
well,
doubt.
then in that
Yeah.
case, then you're totally valid. Thank you for your.
Now we're going to get another 1-star review.
I know. We're going to talk bad about Elvis. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Right? The Elvis people didn't even review the show poorly.
Because they found it all on
Yeah.
YouTube.
They didn't know how to work the podcast.
They don't know.
players,
Because
but-
at that age.
Yeah. You just hit
so-
play and hope for the best.
Oh, gosh. Criminal. Criminal. Your Dune episode was criminal.
We could really only get like one bad review out of it though, because they're using a shared account at
That's
a nursing
correct.
home.
Yeah,
so-
right.
So fans of the show, if you're curious, go to iTunes to find that review. And while you're
Yeah,
there,
it's the Priscilla review, not the Elvis review. It's the Priscilla review.
right.
Yeah.
No, but that's YouTube though. While you're on iTunes,
Oh, yes.
go check out that Dune review and leave us a nice 5-star review if you like the show.
Awesome.
Counteract that jerkwad.
Yes. Also, don't forget you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/real spoilers. So while you're there, like the page, join the group. It's called the League of Show Sharers because we are hoping you will share an episode. People who were kind enough to share an episode this week include librarian Cynthia, Chris Falls, Tammy Lynn Powers Betts, Travis Tewitt, Ralph Tribble, Phil Timon, Tom Dowdy, Chris Magic Man, Richard Krotzer, Gabriel Lugo, Heather Sachs, Binge Movies, Ronnie Castle, Colby Mack, The Kryptonian Orphan, Ryan Terry, Nostalgia Cast, Geek to Me Radio, Matt Neglia, and In Session Film. So thank you very much for sharing an episode. We greatly appreciate it. And finally, don't forget our Patreon at patreon.com/real spoilers, where for $5 a month you get all sorts of bonus content, and we like you extra. And we were chatting so long
That's true.
before we recorded this episode that we're probably going to pull it out and make it a bonus episode.
Yeah,
'cause the tape was rolling, so I will be making a glorious return.
That's outstanding.
To the
That's right.
Patreon for Real Spoilers, and
Congratulations.
and you won't have to be subjected to Matt Bassler.
That's fair.
Yeah, so there's all that. Love Lies Bleeding. Let's dig in.
So I loved this movie.
Yeah,
I thought it was great.
It was great.
I liked it a lot.
That's okay.
I fall a little short of loving it.
That ending messed me up.
The end, because I was just like, we're doing what now?
Yep.
Like, and
Yep,
that's going to be
yep.
very polarizing.
You know this
for
is
me.
an
It is.
A24 movie, right?
Absolutely.
As soon as she's on stage, I go, oh, there it is, A24 movie.
I can accept that thing because, and we'll get into it, but I can accept why that
That's
happened.
the same kind of thing. It's
Not that the ending sequence where she turns into the Hulk is not the same.
And
Yeah,
not
but
just the
it's-
Hulk, but like giant.
Yeah,
right?
Ang Lee Hulk.
But
Right.
neither
Yeah.
of them happened. That's the whole point.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's an artsy thing, and
I get that.
it's A24. So when she throws up on stage, but that's the first moment where I'm like, this isn't really too A24ish. You know what I mean? It's got the look, it's got a little bit of the vibes, but not too weird, right?
Yeah.
And then the thing on stage happens, and I go, there it is.
Although they're famously supposed to be trying to like rein in their movies to
Oh,
make
are
them
they?
more mainstream.
Okay.
That they're trying to get a little bit more.
Why?
I think because they saw how much money Everything Everywhere All at Once made.
Yeah, but that was weird. That was really.
But I
weird.
think they're trying to like dial it in to
Okay.
be like, let's be weird enough to
See-
be different, but
Okay.
not so weird that people don't want to go see.
Yeah,
it.
I think it's a mistake. That's
I
the
think
beginning of the end
that's
because
right. Like
they
just
have
lean into what you're doing,
Yeah.
and it's working.
It's
Like,
making
don't-
it's separating them from everyone.
That's
And I
exactly
know
right.
that they now people sometimes kind of goof on people with the A24 thing, but like as soon as they just become another art house, you know what I mean?
Once you start
Yeah.
cranking out generic stuff,
then you're not going to get the crowd that likes them for their weird
it's
A24.
the Blumhouse problem.
Oh,
it's the
man.
same thing,
I'm
honestly.
with you on that one, and I've been saying that since before that because I think they've been making some stinkers, and I'm like, they just can't keep doing
I
this.
mean, I think those three. I said it before. Those three Halloween movies made a boatload of money, and was
with
able to.
diminishing returns,
But still, with diminishing returns, they were still making a lot of
but
money.
they did The Exorcist Believer.
They did.
And they did this, and they've done some other ones
Yeah.
that are crap. And it's like the Blumhouse name is not going to mean what like the A24 name means something.
Yeah.
If Blumhouse keeps just putting out generic horror crap and it's not very good, it's just going to be another whatever.
Another studio. Yeah. But this is the movie that the Coen brothers won.
Yeah, I was
This
like,
is what they wanted to be.
This is. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, this is what happens when someone from this world make. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, and this movie kind of reminded me of Blood Simple. It had a
I
very
thought the
Did
exact
you-
same thing.
right?
Yeah,
the
I-
vibes, the whole
Oh.
noir crime aspect going on with the
Kinda quirky.
gun smuggling, but then also a little weird or whatever. I'm like, this feels like early Coen brothers.
I felt yes.
Whereas Driveway Dolls did
Felt like
not feel like
current.
felt like latter Coen.
or the bad parts of the Coen
Right.
brother movies, And,
Yeah.
yeah, I
but-
thought this was like Blood Simple meets Bound.
Yeah.
Oh, great call.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's spot on. Yeah.
so this is directed by Rose Glass. This is her second feature. She
Saint
directed Saint Maud.
is a weird movie.
I liked Saint Maud. I didn't love it. I liked this a lot more than Saint Maud. I'm not
Yes.
saying I didn't like it, but Saint Maud didn't quite. Everyone was so overhyped Saint Maud.
Of course.
So when I watched it, and I'm just like,
It's a very, very
it's
good
okay,
psychological
yeah.
horror.
it's good
flick.
for sure.
Absolutely.
But this one, I mean, I was invested, start to finish. They hit the ground running.
this was the first like movie of the year that I was like, I cannot wait to see this movie. Like I was super intrigued into this movie, and I was not disappointed.
Yeah.
At all.
And this has nothing to do with the movie, but I wish I didn't see it at crappy AMC theater because that projector was so dim.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it's not the movie. I went home and watched the trailer because I knew I didn't
It's a
want
little
to be like-
dark, but not.
It's a little dark, but our theater. Did yours?
Creve Core?
Yeah.
So, okay. So here's my experience with this movie.
Okay.
I went to the screening that was at AMC Theater.
at Creve Core.
So
Or
that was
somewhere
at the
else?
Esquire.
Okay.
And I sat there for an hour, and the movie still
Oh,
hadn't
my
started.
God.
And I finally just got him walked out. And
Did
so
they say anything?
They were like,
Please don't leave.
15 minutes after it was supposed to start, they said, give us 10 or 15 more minutes. And then finally I was just like, this.
I wonder if they
Right.
canceled it. Sometimes then they just cancel it.
I don't know, but
eventually.
I left it at 8 o'clock when it was supposed to start at 7.
Dang.
And I just walked out. I didn't
Did you
even
get
say
popcorn reimbursement?
I didn't.
But, like,
I didn't buy any popcorn because I would have asked for it.
Right.
Because I'd have been like, I only bought the popcorn because you were going to show me a movie.
I did that at some big movie, and I bought a popcorn, and then the movie got canceled. And I'm like, but I just bought a $10 popcorn. I mean, I didn't do anything about it, but I was like, well, this.
But there was nobody that like from whatever company that is that was like, hey, like that's tried to stop you.
No,
from
I
leaving?
just
Not
walked
that
out.
point. Yeah.
bonkers.
Yeah, and this is why I don't go to screenings anymore.
Sure.
So it's this is not the first time it's happened to me. So then I bought tickets to see it the next day at on the Thursday when it opened at a different AMC, the Creve Coeur, and it's like in theater 11. And I get there, and we got there we get there late because we know they're going to show 30 minutes of trailers.
And the guy was jacking it in the theater, and he
Yeah.
couldn't, and it
That
shut
is
down the whole thing.
That was
Crazy,
funny.
dude.
But
that's crazy.
So we get there, and then they're like, "Oh, you're not in theater 11. You're in theater 3."
Did someone complain? And so I had to sit through the whole movie because I was in theater 11, and you couldn't see the movie. And I mean, I just
gonna
got
chicken noise yourself?
I don't have to do that. That's only for you. So, but it made me so frustrated because I knew it wasn't the movie.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, jeez.
So,
But it sucked. I'm just saying, my experience sucked.
we go into theater 3, but they're like, your seats are the same. Okay, so we
Sure.
go into theater 3.
Is it built the same?
And those seats don't exist.
No, so we go into theater 3, and it did not seem built the same, but I guess it was going to map out. I don't know.
Right.
So we go in there, and at this point, it was supposed to start at 6:40. At this point, it's 6:50. I walk in, and there's nothing on the screen. So I immediately get up and because I was going to pee.
Sure.
And I was like, I'm immediately get up, and before I even pee,
Yeah. Ooh.
I go to the front, and I'm like, hey, there's nothing playing on there, and this movie was supposed to start 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, we don't even have trailers or
Yeah.
Maria
Maria Menounos.
Mentos over there
You didn't get to
telling
play the
us.
space game and
Yeah.
get your points.
And I was like, there's nothing on the screen.
You are making my case for the Draft House. We're saying it here, Draft House. You can
I know.
for a sponsored episode.
This is. You know what I was going to say? My line was going to be, "This is what I get. I get what I deserve for not going to Alamo."
So then I tell her that. She immediately gets on her little radio thing, like she's in the Secret Service. She says, and so then I go and pee, and I get done, and I go into the theater. I go back to theater 3, and nobody's in there.
Were there people there before?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because it was a
Oh, so
very
they
crowded
had
screening.
then
And
got
I was
and moved them since
I
you
was
got
like,
there?
nobody's in there. And I walked back out.
Where
and
was Crystal?
And so Crystal had they had ushered them, and she I
Yeah.
guess hadn't sat back down to text me yet.
Oh.
And so then I go back to the front, and then they're like, oh yeah, we were having issues, so we moved it
Is it back at 11?
to theater 11.
Oh.
I was like, what have we accomplished here?
Wow. So you had to see it on the dim screen too.
Yes.
They didn't fix it.
Oh,
It was a
man.
bummer. I was sitting there the entire time going, "Why didn't I just go to Alamo? Why?" It was just a little
So
bit.
much-
It worked
it's
out
so
the
much
time,
better.
and it was a little closer.
It is tough.
and-
We should,
Oh
we
no!
should say
No,
that,
Alamo was sold out. I couldn't go to Alamo. That is why I went to Creve Coeur that night because Thursday was sold out. Alamo app sold.
This is
out.
what I have noticed about
I would
that
say my
place.
theater was very crowded.
Yes. So what I have noticed
was
about
too.
the Draft House is, for the big stuff, like the big tentpole stuff, doesn't really sell out.
Right.
Yeah.
But
For art
the
house
little
and-
stuff,
Yeah.
every single
Yeah.
time.
Well, and there's
like,
fewer screens for
There
it.
are, and
yeah.
they put them in the smaller theaters.
Smaller theater, yeah.
But every single time.
So that
they
was a
sell
bummer
out.
because they were sold out, and I couldn't see it Friday, and I was available Thursday. So I did the thing where I'm like, I'm not shooting myself in the foot and then rushing around trying to figure it out. I go, I'll see it Thursday at Creve Coeur, and yeah, it's a bummer because that theater, the sound was good, but the screen, they had it so dim that I just got used to it. I still liked the movie a lot, but the whole time I'm just going, this projection sucks.
It's just crazy to me that big chains like
I know.
that cannot figure it
No,
out
because it's
Well,
all automated. There's no projectionist.
Right,
It's purposeful. If
What do you
they, because if they run those, they're not
Right.
running their bulbs at the right brightness
To save, yeah.
because if you run your bulb at full brightness, you're going to
burn 'em
burn
out.
through it twice
Yeah,
as fast.
that's fair.
It
So
sucks.
they kill the brightness on the bulb because they know on most movies it won't matter.
But
And
for dark art house movies, if you don't have it up, then they're super dark. And
Right.
I went back and watched the trailer, and I'm like, no, I can see every image in this trailer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't
a choice.
It was
by
a
them.
bummer, but the movie's so good though. It
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It
So
gets-
let's get into the movie.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've got Kristen Stewart, and I wish I could remember
Lou
who played
Lou.
Lou, and then
Lou
so
Jr. Her dad's called Lou too.
Oh, is that what
yeah,
it is?
So she's.
Okay.
I guess you could read into that. He maybe wanted a boy. You know.
Who knows?
He has 2 daughters.
I
but-
will tell you though. So Jenna Malone is in this as well as Kristen Stewart's sister.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize how much they looked alike already.
That's a good call. Yeah.
But like when I saw them looking at each other, I was like, "Oh, that's wild."
And they went, sisters, sisters. They did the whole routine
The
from
whole
White
thing.
Christmas.
Yeah, right.
Did you know that? Did you know that
what?
song from a musical?
Yeah, I've seen White Christmas.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
I just because I didn't. I looked at Tom
my
specifically.
my grandmother was a big
Okay.
White Christmas fan. At
It's
Christmas
Rosemary
time,
Clooney, George Clooney's aunt.
Lou runs this gym, and it's what I love about this movie is the gym of 2024 is not
The
what
gym of
of
A24.
That's right, of like 1980. I'm going to assume this is like mid 80s.
It's
Late 80s.
It's late 80s because the Berlin Wall comes down. So
Oh,
it's
that's right.
89,
That's right.
90.
Yes, that
Yeah,
makes
I was
sense.
gonna say they flashed a date at some point because I was watching it, and you know it's a period piece, but then at some point
But that's
they
the
do
simple.
flash.
That's the simple that I like.
Yes.
where it's like you don't need to see a number on the screen.
Right.
It's just context clues.
Yeah.
So,
But they do at one point because I saw the number, but it's hidden somewhere. You know what I mean?
sure,
it's
sure,
not
sure.
the big 1986.
I think hearing
or
the
whatever,
Berlin
yeah.
Wall coming down is
Yeah.
it's like in what was the second Jordan Peele movie, Us,
Yeah.
where they reference the Hands Across America.
Right.
So you're like, oh, okay, I know when this is taking place. So the gym of 1989.
The guy
is-
also I'm surprised you didn't glob onto this one. He had referenced like having just seen Die Hard. in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, he did say, yeah,
Yeah.
so that's 89.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
87.
Yeah, is there a guy talking on the radio or something?
It's
Is that what it
88
was?
when Die Hard came out.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, he's talking about how at the gun range, now that everybody has seen Die Hard,
got
everybody
it,
wants
yeah.
to fire a Beretta.
Yeah.
So yeah, she runs this gym, and it's just meatheads. Like that's all it is, because everybody's obsessed with Arnold Schwarzenegger and how he looked, and that's
And it's like in a garage, you know.
It
it's
is a
like,
very
it's
dingy
this California,
gym.
but it's this California.
Yeah.
But that's where someone like Arnold, some bodybuilders, they
Oh,
like
Venice
to go.
Beach?
They like to go to those little whatever. You
All the
know?
wood paneling.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
what
Great.
that I'm sure was just gross.
Now the toilets need a little work.
That was also what was the man? We just watched something where there was a scene where I was like, that was insanely gross. What did we just watch? Where
I'm glad the projector was so dim I could hardly see it, but you know it was gross.
it was Saltburn
Oh.
with the tub.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where I was like, God, that's so that,
Trademark it.
Yeah, right. This was the same level of gross where she's the toilet is.
I think this
clogged.
is way more gross, but that's just me.
Man,
I couldn't see anything in the tub. It looked like he was just licking a
It's
drain.
the sound.
Yeah.
It was the sound
Oh, yeah.
effect that was
Oh,
the
yeah.
gross part.
And she doesn't like use a plunger. She goes in with her
She's
hand
got
and pulls the thing out.
and I don't know what she's
And they
pulling
show
out.
it, but it looks like it's real.
gross.
Yeah.
It's gross. And so we're introduced to Daisy as well, who is a mess. That actress just killed that role in more ways than one.
And Anne Brizhnikov or something?
Her last name is
Anna Brizhnikov, yeah.
Oh,
Anna Brizhnikov.
any
yeah.
relation to the ballet? guy?
The,
Isn't that a ballet?
Wasn't
guy?
he a-
Baryshnikov?
Yeah. She's the daughter of Latvian-American ballet dancer and actor
See?
Mikhail
Count it.
Baryshnikov.
there you go.
Lock it away.
Wow.
We
got
will
some
never,
Jonas ballet.
we will never
Right?
question you on ballet again.
Thank you very
Holy
much.
cow.
Thank you very much. And what I like about this character, about Lou, is she is the most unlikable protagonist I've seen in a long time.
Really?
But you're still kind of on board. She's not a great person.
I don't think she's
I
bad.
didn't think
She's
she was
just.
that
But I think she's like not nice to anyone until
she's just.
Look at
she
the
just
world
doesn't-
she lives
Yeah,
in.
she-
I
Look
told
at
that's
who she is
yes,
and where she's
which I think
living.
is very
Yeah.
interesting.
She just doesn't care, but I
Yeah.
liked her. And there's something. Kristen Stewart really is mesmerizing. I don't
I-
know what is about her.
Kristen
but
Stewart, I don't know that I've ever done a 180 on an actress like I have Kristen
Right?
Stewart.
Oh,
Like,
really?
I could not stand her.
Same.
And
because of that stupid movie, it wasn't her fault.
yeah,
I
but,
mean,
but
Twilight?
even the other movies she did were really bad.
Like
and she was
Adventureland, you
bad.
didn't like her in that.
Oh, I guess that one was
See?
okay.
But she always, to me, she always played kind of like that. The way that who does an impression of her? Is it Kate McKinnon? Does an impression of
Maybe.
her that is
Probably.
insanely spot on, but
Yeah.
it's like the exact opposite of Jennifer Lawrence,
Yeah.
where Jennifer Lawrence is out, loud and funny,
Yeah.
and she's always kind of Kristen
Won't
Stewart.
look at you.
Yes,
and-
always
yeah.
kind of mousy and like kicking her hair out of her face.
But that's because I think she's shy, and
She could be.
I think it kind of read as her being like
It felt
snobby or something.
It felt
but
very performative.
Yes,
Like
I agree,
Yeah.
and maybe it's not.
But I think she really is just kind of shy because when you watch her on talk shows, she is kind of just timid, even though she's a superstar and has been in all these movies. But she is really down to earth and kind of nervous seeming, not in a bad way, but like a real person.
It is interesting to see that both of them, her and Pattinson, were
Isn't that
able,
great that
were
those
able
two
to
were
pull
able
the
to
nose up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
like-
she's Oscar
Tyler
nominated.
Lautner, on the other hand,
That's what I'm saying.
I hope you enjoyed your 6 months with Taylor Swift. You must be a decent guy because she doesn't seem to
There's
write
no
a song
songs about you.
Wait, he dated Taylor Swift and then he married another Taylor? He only dates Taylors?
Maybe that's
He's
his thing.
married
Maybe
to
that's his kink. I don't know.
Taylor something else.
We don't kink shame on this podcast.
First of all, I
Wait,
never.
is it his name, Taylor?
It is.
Oh, that's weird.
So he dated Taylor Swift and married Taylor.
Maybe he
I'm sorry
only,
for not knowing.
Maybe he only likes to scream out his own name and during sex.
Maybe he's like it's like a Tony Danza where he's too dumb. Like, look, just call him Tony in the show. Like, it'll just make it easier on everybody.
God, can you imagine being like the girl after Taylor Swift?
Good luck.
No.
Like,
Good
that's-
luck.
Yeah.
Like, that's that's one of those things about dating in Hollywood, where it's like you're the other one. Like, like I just saw they just did an interview with Gina Carano.
Yeah.
Where she was, and it is what it is. But she did have nice things that she's like, the guy was like, you dated a guy who was a very famous actor at one point, and she was like, yeah,
Oh, Henry Cavill.
and she said his name, and she was like, he was very sweet. She's like, did you date? But she never said anything.
I really liked her, and I wish she didn't go off the deep end because I liked her when she was in Haywire, and
Haywire's
thought
a
she had a
great
lot of
movie.
promise for a kick-ass action.
Did you know all of her dialogue is dubbed?
That
That's not
sounds familiar, but
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
So, but Haywire's great. I think she was good on Mandalorian.
Yeah,
and-
I did think she was cool on Mandalorian. I just think it's such a bummer she went into all that stuff and now is, on the Ben Shapiro network and all that. You know what I mean? But that's like, I mean, she's following the exact trajectory of what
Well,
happens when you get.
there's a very funny Chad Daniels joke about that, where he's like, people don't get canceled. Their fan base just changes.
Yeah.
Like he's like, Louis C.K. didn't get canceled. Now he just sells like tummy bibs at his shows now. So yeah, so she runs this gym and she's, looks like she's very meh about life. Like she's got a decent apartment, and then we're introduced to Jackie.
You would call that a decent apartment?
in 80.
Well, I'm like, where are you living, Joe? Do you need help?
but I mean, like
Do we
in
need to start a
80.
GoFundMe?
She's got a
sure.
crappy little apartment.
Yeah, I think it's for 1987, 88.
Yeah.
and you run a gym that your dad owns.
I mean,
Spoilers.
I was 19 when this movie is set, so like I know people that lived in places.
That's
like
exactly it.
Yeah.
My first apartment was not great.
Yeah.
So now we're introduced to Jackie in a
Katy
very
O'Brien,
who
was in The Mandalorian.
and man, she got jacked.
She's a former bodybuilder, so she actually
she is in real
knows this world. She doesn't anymore. She's ripped, but on the leaner side now. But she's huge in this movie.
Yeah.
She obviously got back into her bodybuilding, but she was a villain on the second season of The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
She was really intimidating. I mean, she was good in that show.
She was very good on
She
that
was
show.
like trying to capture Baby Yoda and was just
wait, was
super
that?
evil.
I thought that was
and-
Ahsoka. Am I wrong about it? It was the second season of.
Yeah, it was Mandalorian.
Okay.
She was in the Imperial uniform.
Yeah,
She was
yeah,
in
yeah.
the all black
Yeah.
little hat and all that. But she was really good and intimidating. She was in your favorite movie of last year, Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania.
Who was
She was one of the aliens on the planet that they all befriend.
Oh.
Like there's like the gel guy and her. She's
She
red.
She is an Ahsoka. In that
I
show.
don't need to hear the whole thing.
Well,
Just-
they
take us for it.
they
No.
basically convert all of the Empire people into like other working not for the
So
Empire.
Grogu is what they call Baby Yoda, and the Mandalorian.
Wait,
Din Djarin's his
what's
real
a
name.
Yoda?
What's a Yoda?
Yeah. So back in Empire Strikes Back, Frank Oz is the puppeteer.
on the planet Dagobah.
yeah.
And she.
Hey, I can't say Dagobah. You can say
I can say
Dagobah,
it. Yeah,
but
you
I
can't say
can't
it.
say
I can
Dagobah.
say it.
Yeah,
That's
that's fine.
Luke, use the Force and run to Dagobah, Remember that Flash music video?
The Flash?
Uncle Owen, I'm out of power converters or whatever.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Oh my gosh! Back when Shockwave was a thing,
I
like
remember
Flash
that.
videos.
Yeah. Oh.
Run to Dagobah.
You said
Luke,
Flash.
use the
My
Force.
head went to the Speedster.
Well, of course it did.
Yeah,
Oh.
I was like, what are you talking about?
But there's this Flash video where it was a Star Wars rap back in the like early 2000s.
Man,
it was all the rage.
You kids don't even know the stuff that
Yeah,
we have to
we-
watch. We know. So we're introduced to Jackie, and she is in the front seat of a car getting railed.
And it was so
Bye.
dark, I couldn't even see who that was at first. Literally,
Well, they don't-
in the next scene when we see him, I'm like, wait a minute, was that James
Yeah,
Franco's
I
in
was
this movie?
struggling with
Or,
that.
David Franco's
Oh,
in
you're
this
not.
movie?
You're not going to
James-
see James Franco in anything.
And it got me wondering. It's
What
like,
about
man,
if they're just going to remake this movie with Gina Carano and
James Franco.
they probably will.
Ed
It's-
Harris will be played by Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, right. I got to tell you, there were scenes that I forgot how much I love Ed Harris. He's
Dude,
so good.
I
in
was
this
going to
movie.
say the same thing. As Ed Harris has really been getting some meaty roles. Westworld, which I'm never going to stop complaining till my dying day that didn't end because he was so good in
so
Westworld. And then you see him pop up in other stuff. And was he in Top Gun? Was he?
Yeah, he was like the general.
As a bad guy. Yeah, like I love these roles they keep giving him.
That
It's
was
like,
the one where he's like, "I'm not standing up."
Yeah.
And we're like, "Okay, you can sit there."
every role he takes though recently, I mean, he's always been good. We know that like in Apollo 11,
13.
right? Apollo 13.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't even remember which one it is.
Apollo 11's like a found footage horror film.
Okay, we know in Apollo 13 he was in that, but like he's always good.
You know,
but-
it's 13 is the one where they almost all die because it was very unlucky.
there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just for some reason in my head, whenever I now think
The
about
Rock. He's the bad guy.
yeah,
in The
yeah,
Rock.
he's always been
Yeah.
good, but like these roles recently,
the
man,
right stuff.
Oh yeah.
it's like he shows up though, and he's there to play. Like he does not phone it in. You know how sometimes actors get older and they
Yeah.
come for their paycheck, and it's like okay, we get this big name, but like Ed Harris shows up.
Did you think he looked like? Are you both caught up on Stranger Things?
No,
season
I
four?
haven't. No,
Okay.
no.
He looks just like Vecna. When they go to the
I
when they
know
go
what-
into the red like
Yeah.
flashbacks, I was like, that is eerie. How much he looks like the bad
The
guy.
rumor is that he put on hair extensions or something as a joke, and Rose Glass was like, "Nope, that's it." And it's a great
it
look
makes sense.
for this
It is
old,
very
scummy
weird. Yep.
villain guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
great.
yeah.
But yes, he's great. And so he's Lou's dad.
Yes.
we find out, and he's like running guns to Mexico because they see them like hiding all these guns in
Yeah.
crates, and they show Mexico no guns allowed or whatever.
and
so,
the feds are after him.
so he's got these illegal operations. Yeah, the feds
Yeah.
are checking in on the gym. But you said Katy O'Brien ends up sleeping with Dave Franco to get a job
Correct.
at the gun range her dad runs.
Yes, and so she being Jackie kind of just is. And it's interesting because Dave Franco's character is awful.
Yeah, JJ.
But he has moments where he's like not awful because he tells her he's like where are you sleeping? And she was like, I don't know. He's like, just be careful where you're sleeping.
A not awful guy. First of all, would probably not sleep with you to give you a job. But second of all,
Also, a married guy.
Right.
yeah, a married not awful guy would not sleep with you so you get a job. And then also, instead of being like, yeah, be careful, it's dangerous, might like help
You know what?
get
That's
to
true.
a place.
That's also- that's a good point.
He goes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's dangerous, see ya, and drives
ya.
off. So he's a scumbag
Yeah,
for
he-
sure.
oh, without-
Anytime he acts not awful is fake. It's like,
Yes.
he's a total jerk. Yeah.
And so they go to, that we're introduced to all these characters. We go to the gun range. We see Ed Harris for the first time. We know that he's not a great guy, but he's another one that like has his motivations kind of make sense. When things go down, the things that he's doing are to protect his daughter.
Well,
they're not good. They're not good things.
I don't think so. His motivation is to protect himself, and I think he.
Oh, I don't think so.
I think that in protecting her, like she knows a lot about him.
Yeah.
And I think that ultimately he does not want her to do what she ends up doing. Spoilers, reviewers. Sorry, spoilers. The show is called Real Spoilers. You know what I mean? And like, I get what you're saying because he does seem like he cares about her, but I feel he ultimately cares about himself.
Well,
and as soon as she's
lot
doesn't
of-
play ball, she's gone.
a lot of that is true.
Yeah.
But then I think about the scene in the hospital with Jenna Malone where he is he's by the bed. He was like, we're going to take care of it. Like, so there are moments
Yeah.
where he does care about his family, but overall,
Yeah.
he's a bad
Well,
dude.
and I
Yeah.
also think he cares about Jenna Malone, but doesn't care about Lou. I think that
because Jenna Malone is from the wife that leaves.
I don't know exactly because the mother's
I
gone.
think they're half sisters.
Okay, maybe, and they're alluding like I think we're led to believe that he killed the mom, and she thinks that he killed the mom, but then he in the car pretty insistently is like, no, she just left. So that was
I
an
will say,
interesting read.
when he gives that speech about how he didn't kill the mom, I was like,
Totally killed the mom.
I was like, I know this guy's like a bag, but like, I'm kind of believing.
That's
her.
not- it's-
like he's very matter of fact of like, no, she just left. Like,
She didn't want to be married to me anymore and didn't
Right.
want to be your mom.
And I kind of buy that Kristen Stewart has made this whole boogeyman out of the dad, and I know he does bad things, but like she hates him and believes that he killed her mother, and I kind of think she just left, which is one of those interesting character studies.
Right.
But then they do kind of give you the carrot, right, where the Fed says, look, your mom was getting ready to talk, and everybody that gets ready to talk ends up in that ditch.
But maybe she left so that she didn't have to talk and maybe face the wrath of whatever
end up in
Yeah.
some
right. So
ditch.
it's just an interesting thing, and I kind of like that they don't spoon feed it because it's her motivation, her main one for hating the dad.
Right.
But then they also keep flashing to these nightmares that are like this red and black, very dark
I think
scenes.
flashbacks.
Where like he's shooting someone, and then at some point it almost seemed like she was shooting
She
someone.
did. She did.
And then I was like, did he have her kill the mom?
Yes.
Like I was.
Oh.
It was really making me think that like
I did think we were going to. You're right.
that there was some revelation that actually at his behest or something, but that he had her kill her mom,
Yeah.
and she knows she's gone, but she is dead. I don't know, but it was interesting. Kept you guessing. I
did.
I was not quite sure what was going
Yeah,
on.
I think, and we've said it before, is this a very smart movie?
Mm-hmm.
And what I also liked is they don't do that trope where your two main characters don't have a conversation. It almost happens, and they figure it. Like there's a scene where at this point Jackie and Lou sees Jackie at the gym
working out,
getting
swole,
getting swollen, jacked,
jackied.
and that's right. And they have like a moment, and then so as they're both locking up the gym, Jackie is kind of
Well, there's a muscle bound
pulled.
guy.
That guy's name is Keith Jardine. He was a UFC fighter,
a wrestler,
He was a UFC fighter
or a ballerina.
Touche.
I think he was on like the first season of the Ultimate Fighter. He was on one of the early seasons.
He's a big dude.
He's a massive man. And, he kind of grabs Jackie, like, let's go to the bar. And she's like, no, I'm good here. And grabs her arm. And then Jackie, out of nowhere, just blasts him in the face. And, of course, she gets hit because...
he said something very mean to Lou. He called her a bad word. Yeah, he said something, and she was kind of defending
Oh,
her.
I thought he, like, grabbed her arm and pulled her
I think
away.
she said something to Lou.
I forget what he said.
He
but
called her
yeah.
something not nice.
Okay.
Might have been a drive-away doll. Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, that's the worst thing you can call someone is a drive-away doll.
I gotta
if
tell
anyone
you.
who's seen that movie,
I was
will
gonna
understand.
say,
that is now an ultimate.
that's a reference that nobody will get
Yeah.
because nobody saw that movie.
Yeah. Or knows the backstory of that title, but it's a deep one. It's a deep cut.
Yeah,
but
it's so deep that they put it on the end of the movie.
Yeah,
they did?
Yeah,
the title.
the title.
Oh, they put the real title at the end?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have started leaving already at that point.
When they drive away, it's on the wall. It's like spray
Oh,
painted on
I
the
did
wall.
not realize
Yeah.
that. Okay, see. Well, I didn't even know. You learn something every day.
Yeah. Our two characters go into the gym and they start fooling around and making out. And when they go back to Lou's apartment and they have sex,
She offers her steroids, which
Oh, that's
is
true, she
which
does.
is kind of a big thing because I do believe that the rage is steroid induced at this
Sure,
as
yes.
it goes through the movie, right?
Well,
so she's jacked, but she says I'm au naturel, and I believe her. But as soon as she starts taking steroids, her disposition gets more questionable, right? She's
Yeah.
getting very angry at things, and
Well,
and you see her muscles, which I believe is a metaphor, but her muscles are literally like
watching
bulging,
them grow
like
in real time.
Yeah.
Which they don't. But it just takes time.
But that's a little of the A24,
Yes,
the monster
yes,
movie.
yes,
They make
yes.
a lot of weird body horror type stuff, and so
Yeah.
her muscles start like growing and bulging as she flexes.
It's funny, at the beginning, at the Draft House, they show random things,
Mm-hmm.
and they showed a clip from the Incredible Hulk TV show.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell does this have to do with this
Right.
movie? And then I was like, oh,
Yep.
well done.
Yeah.
Well done. He fights a giant gorilla in that
Mm.
episode, and,
He's a nice guy. I've met him a couple times at those
Lou?
cons. Yeah, he's nice. He's
Yeah.
he's a big guy. I mean, when you see him, he really is huge
He's
in real
still
life.
big.
He is. I mean, he still works out as big, but like he's.
I think
really,
he's bigger than Arnold at this point.
Really? I
I
mean,
think
they were
Arnold-
competing for a
now,
while.
yeah. I mean, they were both in
Oh, yeah.
Pumping Iron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. But I think Arnold has not slimmed down, but he is not
I don't think he works out like he used to.
But Lou still looks like he's in the gym about 15 hours a day.
He is still working out for sure.
So she offers her steroids, and I do like. There is definitely a metaphor for drugs and stuff, and they use steroids, which, is like this weird gray area where it's not technically heroin or meth, but it is a drug.
But they are illegal.
They are illegal.
So
I guess it feels different because it's not mind altering. Although I guess eventually it can be because
that's what
but
Lou,
it's not something you take to get high.
Right. And Lou does say, she's like, just take a little bit of this. Like, she's only given her like a little bit just to get everything going. And then when Jackie, thank you.
She does call her Jack.
That's okay.
But,
yeah, right. Yeah. When she starts ramping it up, that's when everything's because she's taking more and more.
Yeah,
and
at first
more.
she's just taking a little bit. She's like, you don't do a ton of them. And she's like, guys buy them at the gym all the time and leave them around. And I've got this little supply of them. But after she, she says, where do you want it? In my butt. And then they just have a moment and start going
that
back.
was a big ass needle. I gotta tell you.
You know what? Every time she used it, I was like, I was scared straight. I'm like, I'm never using steroids.
Did you ever see the Vince? I think it's Vince.
Well, they were
Vaughn.
neither scared nor straight.
That's right.
Which is nice because Kristen Stewart is gay in real life.
Oh,
and
is that right?
And Katy O'Brien is openly gay. So
I knew Katy O'Brien. I didn't know Kristen Stewart. That's how little I pay attention.
So, but I mean, so she has dated men. So I can't. But
she dated Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, but she's dated multiple men.
Did she break up a marriage?
Rupert.
Yeah, because she was dating the director
Sanders,
of Snow White.
Rupert Sanders. She broke. Yes, unfortunately, it was a big in the news, and they were in a car together, and someone got a photo of them making out.
Yeah,
and she was with Robert Pattinson.
Yes.
She cheated on Pattinson, and he was married.
Yikes.
So anyway, I just think it's like you have these two actors that are very good, but neither one of them is necessarily playing outside of the world. Like they cast them appropriately.
But that's what we talked about on Driveway Dolls, right? Like everything about that movie seems manufactured.
Right.
Everything.
Yeah.
This did not. Like none of
their
relationship, the sex scenes.
Interesting how that works out when you cast people.
Right.
And I'm not saying, and this is a whole nother discussion of can actors not act and play different roles. I mean, I know that there's a lot that goes into that, but if you get actors who are not believable in roles, I mean,
that goes back to that Denzel Washington comment, right? Where
I cut that out of the episode so no one heard it, but
why?
I don't know. It just led into something else.
So then I'll do it here.
No, it's gonna get cut. No.
Well, it's just he talks about how a certain director directing a certain movie makes sense because of the experience that director has. This feels very similar to that because these two women live that life. Like this is their life. So
and maybe another actor that doesn't. I'm not saying no actor could do it, but these ones can specifically because
got
they
a greater degree of likelihood of achieving the outcome you want.
And Driveway Dolls, again, the whole thing did feel so fake and so manufactured and contrived, which is weird in hindsight, knowing half of the writing team. But that's a whole nother discussion.
That also got cut out of the episode.
Yeah,
we talked about.
Well, we didn't know.
That's true. That's also true.
That we didn't know that the Ethan Coen is married to a gay woman.
Yeah.
I don't know. And fine, whatever, they're both consenting adults, whatever, but like that was not something that you would guess. If you don't know that, you would never.
Right. No.
I don't know.
But for whatever reason, it doesn't work in that movie.
But it's very bad movie.
It's very bad. And I think the sex scenes in this, because that they have that life experience, felt more real.
And I talked about this the other day with what movie was it where there was was it Driveway Dolls?
Yeah.
That's the thing. The only thing I appreciated about that movie was that usually it seems a little bit like more from the male gaze or something, and you just don't get a authentic feeling or looking sex scene where it's just like banging, right? Not lovemaking, but banging. And this movie does the same thing where it's like, oh, it's a sex scene. They just happen to be same sex, but they don't treat it differently than to a guy and a girl hooking up. And it's just,
Yeah, so
I think you're getting more of that now because just times have changed. And, it used to be like they just wouldn't put that in a movie.
Right.
Yeah, they would have.
Didn't want to offend anyone or whatever.
On HBO at midnight. Yeah, that's where it would be.
Now it's just like, whatever.
But that wasn't, but that was for men.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like that was,
Absolutely. So their relationship is progressing. Jackie's working at the gun range.
She's trying to go to a bodybuilding competition in Las Vegas in a month, basically.
Yeah. So she's taking a little bit of the steroid. She's working out every day. She's working at the gun range. And then we meet Lou's family, and it's the most awkward interaction because I think this is the first time that Jackie has been brought around, and JJ realizes that he has slept with this woman, and now...
Well, he works at the gun range, and he sees her at work
Which
all the
that's
time.
not so bad, but when your sister-in-law is dating the woman...
Of course,
you know,
right. But he's very familiar with it. He didn't go like, hey, are you that one that I hooked up with a month? You
Well,
know,
he's
he's like,
got a lot to unpack here, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, this lady I slept with is now in my home in front of my wife,
Right.
and apparently she's not straight.
Right.
And also in
and
19
banging my sister-in-law.
Yes.
and in 1989, like, you know,
I got 2024. That's a lot to unpack.
right. But I was going to say also 1989 is going to be confusing because, I mean, there was a lot less acceptance of bisexuality, right?
Sure.
Like it was like bisexuality was often perceived as a stop on the way to being gay.
Correct.
Right?
Which is the line in this.
Yeah.
Where Lou even asks her, she's like, "Are you f***ing around, or like, is this you? Like, are
Right.
you into this?" She's like, "No, I'm here. Like, I'm with it." But when they're after the dinner, and we should say that like at one point we see that Jenna Malone, who plays Lou's sister, her face is kind of cut, like she's got a little bit of cut on her lip. She's got her arm in a sling. So we know
JJ's abusive.
Yes.
And
that
Lou
plays
isn't putting
into-
up with this crap, and she goes and confronts him, and he ends up saying, "Hey, I don't know who you think this girl is that you're fooling around with,
Right.
but we did it."
Yeah, he's like, I screwed her in my ar and yada, yada, yada.
And he's just such a gross jerk.
And this is, maybe he took some cues from his brother in this one. Hey, man, if Seth Rogen says, I'm done with you,
Yeah.
red flag.
Yeah.
You know what
Well,
I mean?
he
Like,
knows what's smart for his.
What's-
He's got a big producing career.
but he's
You know, he
also,
can't-
I feel like he's not, you look at Sandler, right? Who still's like, Rob Schneider is my buddy. I was like, that guy, you're going to talk to that guy?
yeah, that
still?
dude's so rich that Sandler is beyond. By all accounts, Sandler is a great guy. Everyone says he's so nice. Like people in public when he goes to restaurants, everyone talks nothing but good stuff. And he's also so rich. So
Yeah.
like, I just feel like if you found out that Sandler's still friends with Rob Schneider, who's a little more controversial these days, like that's not going to get Sandler losing.
No.
He's Adam Sandler, and he would have to mess up pretty.
Yeah, until they find out that Sandler is also.
I think he's a great guy from all what I hear. So when he did, he had an interview, I think it was around Uncut Gems, and the Safdie brothers had him come to a diner, and it was a setup where they had cameras all around, and they were interviewing Sandler, and it was supposed to be just a lunch get together, but it ended up being the Q&A because the Safdie brothers are indie, like art house. They do weird stuff, you know what I mean? I love what they do, but so they wanted the Q&A for their movie to promote it to be this thing that Sandler doesn't know he's doing a Q&A. So the waiter would walk up and ask him a question about the movie, and then Jason Bateman happened to be at the diner and he started asking him questions about what he was working on. And it was
so
all
random.
the Q&A for the movie that they're promoting. And he ends up finding out, and it's funny. Go watch it.
That's pretty good.
But he never he doesn't know he's being filmed, but yet he's talking like a normal dude, and like there's some questionable things, and he's like, that's kind of weird or whatever. And he doesn't know he's being filmed, so you can tell if there was a not nice guy and he didn't know he was being filmed, he might be like, who are these effing weirdos? And what,
They had this is the scene that I was talking about where it's very easy for for these two characters to have this fight, not talk about it, and then go about. But they do talk about it, right? Like there's not Jenna Malone. Kristen Stewart tells the other actress, Jackie to get out of the car, and she's like, "Okay, fine," and gets out, and she starts walking, and she's like, "Okay, wait, I'm sorry," and
like Kristen Stewart really blows that better. And I know that it's a confusing situation, but like their relationship has been pretty good up until this. But I'm guessing that Lou feels that Jackie has just been using her, and feels betrayed in that regard.
Yeah,
and so she really does blow up at her and say, "Get out," and all this because JJ said some mean things and then basically said she's just using you for your gym and your apartment.
She gets a free place to stay and a free gym membership.
So she's walking and then she sees, I guess, the feds
because early in the movie this guy comes up to Lou at the desk of the gym and starts asking questions, and she's just like, what are you talking about? And then he drops the card that he's a fed and he's trying to get information on her dad, which we find out is Ed Harris. So, but what I'm saying is, like, we talk about it in BVS, right? Like, I will always use that as one of the worst, the Martha line. Where it's like,
we talk about that?
Yeah, well, it's as simple as, like, when he lands in Gotham, all he's got to say is, like, hey, man, Lex has my mom. Can you help me, please? No, we don't get that at all. We get that stupid fight, and then he says the mom's name. He's like, bet, whatever. this is that moment where Lou could very easily have driven off and not said a word, and the whole movie is based on that. The whole movie is ruined because of, but she doesn't. She opens up to Jackie and tells her what's going on with her and why she's staying in, I don't know where they are. Like, they don't,
California. I think they're close enough to Vegas. Like, Vegas is drivable easily from California.
Yes, right? Is it?
It
it's
is,
right
yeah.
there. Yeah, I mean,
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think they're somewhere in California.
Yeah, but they never say. But it is but they are driving to Vegas. Like, that's the plan.
Yeah.
And
well, one of them does.
That's true. And Jackie accepts it. So, like, it's this whole conflict that could have not ruined a movie, but, like, it made things very, like, if you had just told her from the jump, this thing would have never happened.
Well, they talk and it doesn't seem great, but the feds, or whether that
They're
or
following-
one of her
yeah,
dad's guys,
no,
whoever.
it's the feds.
Is
They're
it for sure the
yeah,
feds?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And
But she says get in the car, and so that kind of is like, well, that's better than whatever this is that's happening.
It's more important. So they get back in the car. The next morning, Lou gets a phone call. She goes to the hospital, and Jenna Malone's face is just wrecked.
Yes.
And we know that JJ did it. We know that's what happened.
Yeah, this is not a mystery.
No, not at all. And we see Ed Harris come in, and this is the first time we see Lou and Ed Harris together on screen. At the
Earlier
same
in the
time.
movie, it's kind of like as the relationship progresses, it's kind of a surprise.
Well, she says that when Jackie says, "Oh, I have a job at this gun range," and Lou is like, "Don't work there." Like, that's she reveals that that's her dad.
Yeah.
It's funny how these people in this world, Jenna Malone is enabling JJ. She's not going to leave him, just even if he beats her half to death.
Well, and so I think JJ's helping him with his gun smuggling operation. So
Absolutely,
that
he
is
is.
why he doesn't just take him out. But
Right.
we do find out later, I think he's going to have a very stern talking to had he not already been taken care of.
But we do find out that JJ is a rat. JJ was an informant, and we find so it's just it is to me. This is very much like Fargo, where it's like all of these things can get tied up very easily just by happenstance, right?
But that's what's exciting, right? It does feel like early Coen brothers.
Yes.
You have all this stuff going on. You have the criminal dad, and you have this guy, and he's a jerk, but he's also working with the feds.
And you've got some very funny, like, subdued scenes.
Yeah.
Like, there are some very funny scenes in this movie. There's one scene with Kristen Stewart there towards the end where she was like, nope, or says she does something. Maybe when they're trying to get JJ into a car. I don't know. There was something that was very...
Well, there is some funny visual comedy, just like a Coen brothers type thing with dragging a body around.
Right.
So, but in this...
Also, I want to talk about Kristen Stewart drags a lot of bodies in this movie.
Yeah.
Which, to me, is like, she is deceptively strong because those bodies are not light, and she's just picking them up and throwing them.
You think they really had a body in the carpet?
No, but I mean the character, right?
Hey.
Like, but she does work in a gym.
She works in a gym. We never see her working out in the gym. But I will also say that's the difference between a good movie and a bad movie. Like, if this was a bad movie, you'd be sitting there going, there's no way she could pick up that body. But because this is a good movie,
it's like, whatever.
On this on a point like this, you give it the benefit of the doubt and you go, oh, she must just be a very compact, strong.
Yeah,
yes,
she has that kind of like skinny person muscle where it's like, very like dense muscle.
Yeah,
like there are some people where you just be like, there's no way, but they're so strong.
Mm-hmm.
But Kristen Stewart, I want to say in this scene, so she's very good throughout this film, but her acting chops really show when Jenna Malone's in the hospital and she's getting upset and is beside herself. And I think that you really see a good performance from her here.
I don't disagree at all.
Jackie's sitting in a chair and like kind of like quietly wigging out. You can see that she just doesn't know what she's going to do. And like you said, Ed Harris comes and Lou is like, you have to do something about JJ like this. And he's like, now I'll take care of it, but
you just need to chill out.
Yeah. And at this point, he leaves, I think, and then Jackie just gets up and
takes the truck and drives over to JJ's. JJ, because they say that JJ is talking to the police and he's giving a statement.
Yeah.
She's like, you're just going to let him go anyway. So Jackie goes in the house and just beats the tar out of him.
This is a very horror movie type because
very much.
He walks in and you don't see anyone. It's dark and it's quiet, and all of a sudden she comes out of it.
And this got a great reaction in the theater.
I really wish I could have seen it better because it was so dark.
Well, but you don't see anything. Here's the thing. It's super smart. So she basically curb stomps JJ on a table, and when JJ's head falls to the ground, you see his jaw.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Because
okay,
I could
okay.
see it, and it was still gnarly enough because I could see it. But I'm like, I really wish it was a little brighter because
Yeah.
it looked like it was a really good effect. And I just,
It was in shadow, but you could see
Yeah.
that the shadow of his
I could see his
lower
jaw like slid to the other side or
it,
something.
like it flapped.
Yeah.
And it got a fantastic reaction
Same.
in the theater.
Yeah.
It was so good. And Kristen Stewart's still at the hospital. She wakes up, realizes her keys are gone, hops in a cab. As she's driving home, she sees her truck in front of JJ's house. So she goes inside and she finds his body and
What's left of it.
Yeah, right. And she realizes what Jackie has done. They try to fix it all. And
She puts her gym cleaning skills to use.
that's very true. Yeah.
Well, and that's the Chekhov's gym cleaning in the beginning with the toilet and all that. Because I do think that was kind of clever the way they set it up, because throughout this movie now she's cleaning up this mess and everything, but you saw how good she was at cleaning. I don't know. It just
yes. It was very deliberate that we see
yeah,
her.
and you know, it was like just a throwaway. And yeah, so she works at the gym and cleans stuff, but when you see her doing this, you're like, oh, she knows how to get sweat and stains out and everything. So it was
She's also adept at putting her hand inside of things.
correct.
Yeah.
Which I was also
Yeah.
well done. I just the line. Oh, that was the line that got a big laugh for whatever reason. I just want to see how many you can take.
Yeah.
Was the line, and I was like, holy,
Yeah.
that's gonna. All right.
she was talking about M&Ms, how many you can
That's
fit
sure.
in your mouth at the same time,
We'll go
right?
with that. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely what she was talking about.
Okay.
So they devise this plan where they're going to put JJ in the back of this car, and we know that Lou knows a spot where she can get rid of this thing.
What do you think about the toe in the mouth?
Yeah, it's gross.
That's that thing again where I always think, you know, on set, how clean did she just
Yeah.
get it scrubbed and cleaned?
What was it,
Is it a
was it Talk to Me?
prosthetic? Yeah,
Talk
I
to Me,
think so.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
always just want to know on set, like, because there's actors and health risk, you know, things at play. You know, it's a very.
I also do wonder, like, how much of that is improvised.
I don't think in today's world any of it's improvised.
You don't think so?
I think because it's all about intimacy coordinators
that's
these
true.
days. So I
Okay.
think that all that stuff in today's
Has to be
world is
go-
probably.
But on these
bunch of
art house
people.
movies, you see the Saltburn thing where he's like, "I humped that grave," which I know you don't believe, but I did. There was an interview.
Yeah, but you don't need to get permission to hump a patch of dirt.
Yeah, but we had talked about but he takes his pants off and he's around
Yeah.
people, the crew and stuff. So I do think, but there's an interview and I didn't click on it, but I was doing some research and the headline said, Kate O'Brien said, "Put your foot in my mouth" or something. So I do think that might have actually been improvised.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the thing, so
Interesting.
Well, if
'Cause I-
someone says you should do this,
Yeah.
I don't know that that's improvised. I mean, they made it up on the but they're not in the moment, and someone just did.
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Like to
Sure,
me,
sure,
that's
sure.
improvised. This is more like they're riffing. Like, hey, how can we structure this scene?
I also,
that's a weird debate of semantics.
I don't
there.
think
No,
it's
no, no,
hang on. I don't think it's debate of semantics at all because it gives Kristen Stewart the opportunity to say,
No.
hell no, I am not putting my foot in."
But
your
if it's
foot in
not
my
part of
mouth."
the script, I feel like that's improv. When you come up with something not in the script, I think you can call that
I
improvisation.
guess I feel like improv is like you're making it up in the moment, and everybody's just on the fly going with whatever somebody puts
to me,
out
like
there.
improv in the script, it says Lou and Jack have sex.
Yeah.
Right. That's in this. That's if that's what's in the script, and then the two actors take that, and then they do
Right.
whatever it is they do on set. You know what I mean? Like that's when I say improvise.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like it's a very
Yeah.
vague like note in a script,
Right.
And the two actors kind of roll with it, however they do.
They should have humped a grave. I think that
It's
would
all,
have been.
it's all the rage these days.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that.
All the cool kids
All
are
the
doing
cool
it.
kids
Yeah.
are doing it. So they take this car out to a ravine, and it's
Well, they run into Miss Barishnikov.
Daisy.
Man, that's a stressful moment. in
Both
the
of
movie.
them. That one, and then the scene in the diner are equal.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
And
is it
that-
the diner, or is it?
She's
It is
in
the
a diner. Yeah. That Anna Barishnikov, whatever her name is in the movie, she's creepy. She plays a really good creepy. She's off
I gotta
from the
tell ya,
beginning.
those teeth help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does look a little methed out or something.
Yeah.
Something's
but,
going on there.
But she's very.
She reminded me of Punxsutawney from Orange is the New Black. Did you ever watch
I
that?
did not
didn't
watch that.
know.
That's a good show.
Yeah,
it's worth
yeah.
watching. But there's a character on there. She's the actress who's kind of has her own, I think, mental health struggles in real life. The one who went viral not too long ago for talking about rimming her married boyfriend's
Oh,
butt.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah,
I did not.
That is Punxsutawney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she plays Daisy in the movie, and from the very first scene when Kristen Stewart's got her up to her elbow in crap in the toilet, she's like hitting on her and firing her, and you're like, there's something off about this woman. And so she ends up, as they're driving, they get to a red light, and then all of a sudden, another kind of horror-esque moment, jump scare type thing. She bangs on the window, and so Kristen Stewart is driving JJ's car, and then Jackie's following in the truck behind, and she's like, is that? But she doesn't know that Jackie and her are dating.
Right.
And so she's like, what is she doing in your truck? And she's like, oh, no, I got to go. We'll meet up.
Yeah,
I'll go to the
gotta
club
go
with you or whatever. And then so now we've got a witness.
Right. So they get to this ravine, and
Kristen Stewart knows how to get rid of a body in a car.
but she doesn't.
She doesn't?
No, because she makes the fireball too big.
No, she
No,
wants it
she
found.
purposely does it.
That's on
that's
purpose.
right.
Because
You're
she
right,
knows
you're
there's
right,
a
you're right.
lot at the bottom of that ravine they're
She's
going to
trying to-
find.
Two
She's
birds with
trying to
one stone.
lead
Yeah.
them to her dad.
That's right. That's
but she
right,
knows
that's
how to
right.
do it. She made a Molotov cocktail and doused the car with gasoline and threw it so that it would
Well,
explode. She
I
very
was-
much knows.
I was thinking initially when they say that they're going to see the smoke, and it
Yeah.
was that she knew she had to get rid of that body, but she screwed it. She did screw it
Yeah,
up
you're
just
saying she
enough.
didn't know how to get rid of it without being found, but she wanted to be found.
Yes, that's
So-
right. You're right.
But
Because she does say that.
But she clearly
She wants the body found, but she wants the body damaged so they can't tell that it didn't die during the wreck.
Right,
and
right.
I also think she says, because Jackie's concerned that they'll see it and everything, and she's like, they're going to find a lot more. You don't have to worry because there's a lot more down there they're going to be concerned
Right.
with.
There's more stuff down there.
It was a cool looking scene with
Oh,
the
yeah.
fire coming up and
The cops driving to it. and all
yep,
that
and the
stuff.
sirens in the background and they're going the other way.
Right. So they realize that Jackie and Lou have to lay low. Like, we're just going to hang out here. I'm going to go back to JJ's. I'm going to clean up that place. And then
You stay here.
You stay here. Don't go anywhere.
Always works as long as you just say, please stay here.
Don't do anything.
Yeah,
But-
like in Madam Web.
Yeah, exactly. That is the prime example. Now out on digital.
It didn't take long, did it? You know what else is on digital?
Drive-Away Dolls.
What a double feature if you want to watch
Yeah,
those and listen to the
right.
episodes. And meanwhile, Jackie's like, okay, let's go. We got to get to the competition. And Lou's like, there's no competition. Like, we cannot be seen. If we leave town now, it will look suspicious. And you can tell that Jackie's like, but no, I've been training
training
she's-
so hard for this.
And so Lou says, yeah, stay here, goes to clean it up. Meanwhile, that's not going to happen.
No, Jackie starts.
Be a boring movie if it
Yeah.
It
did.
would have been. Jackie is now using more and more steroids.
Yeah.
She hops.
She's shooting it between her toes, I think.
Yeah.
you
Well,
see.
anywhere that you really can.
Yeah.
You can't see.
You can't
But
see
that
it.
one's always, ugh.
But like, if you're you're basically naked on stage.
Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
she has to be somewhere where needle marks aren't going to be
Right.
visible.
Which makes sense for why she did in the butt and then the
Right.
toe. But
Right.
still, the between the toes in any drug movie
Yeah.
makes me, especially with that size needle.
Oh
going in
yeah, I
there.
think it was no joke. So she hitches a ride, gets to Vegas,
I thought that was going to be Bad News Bears.
which I do like that
The
it
van
wasn't.
full of
It was-
hippie guys
Yeah.
or whatever.
they
And
were
I'm
just
like,
all right, man, see ya. And
and she's all like wigging out because she's
So they're
She's
doing
wa-
the math. I'm like, did Bang Bust exist in 1989?
yeah, it did.
it was called Psychedelic Bang Bus.
That's right. That's right.
But they just drop her off like, have a good competition,
Yeah, see
man.
you. Good luck. But I thought, to me, it felt like she was coming like down. Like she was in withdrawals, and I don't know if you can get it. I have no.
I don't know,
honestly,
because
I
she
have
was
no idea.
taking this stuff and doing all these push-ups and chin-ups. And
Well, she did that after, right? So she lays out her stuff,
Hmm.
and then something happens where she sees, I don't know, she is wigging out, and she
Hmm.
takes a hit of the steroid, and then you see her in the
Interesting.
bikini, and she's pulling up. Doing
Yeah, they're
pull-ups
acting
and-
like steroids are somehow mind-altering drugs, and
But
I
I
was
do
just
think
like,
it probably does give you a
probably do
giant
get a
shot of
withdrawal or
dopamine.
something.
yeah, I mean, I know that over time it,
Yeah.
with the rage aspect, but I didn't know that like if you take it, you instantly like get.
I think
yeah,
that-
I don't know that that's true. It might be. I don't know that it is though.
I mean, I've taken like antibiotic steroids. And I
Oh
do-
man, I'll tell you, when I had bronchitis or whatever I had, and
Yeah.
they gave me a shot of steroids,
Yep.
I felt like $1 trillion, and that's where I'm like, I get why people that are competing and stuff do it. 'Cause you feel stronger and better because
I
like,
took it once because I hurt my back, and that was it.
That makes sense.
but did it make you feel great?
No,
Oh my gosh, because
no, I didn't feel different at all.
they gave me a shot of steroids, and I was sick going in there and wasn't feeling great, and I took it, and I'm like, man, I'm ready
Let's
to
roll.
take on the world. It was.
So I do think that there's some aspect of that.
There has to be, because I
Yeah.
know that I took a tiny amount of whatever, and obviously not the same kind, but like a steroid, and it really made me feel great.
Sure. So she's on stage. She's with like a group of women, and she's putting on a show. And she is, I mean, there's another gal who is in like who has like a build like you can ring the bell if you want. Build like China, like she has that that over that very muscular.
Well, you know what I realized when we got there is I'm like, yes, Jackie is in great shape.
She
looks
like these other
phenomenal.
girls.
But when you get to a competition of all people that are doing the same thing, and you see the size, and I was thinking, oh, she's gonna do okay, but she's going to this competition talking to Lou, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna do this, and she's gonna get there and see all these other women, and she's gonna get 5th place or something.
I think
and
she.
freak out.
I mean, when you look at the women that were there, she was on the smaller side.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And so like she was great for that gym, and you didn't see any other women, but when you see the competition, you're like, oh,
She
wow.
had the build. Maybe this is on purpose. To me, she had the build not of a bodybuilder, but of a fitness model. Like there's a difference between.
I don't know that distinction existed back then.
Oh, that's probably
Definitely
true.
not back then,
I mean,
yeah.
it definitely exists now to where it's like bodybuilders are more about like how big, and can you get where
She was big though, man. When she flexed her arms,
She was. But if you look at like, I think of Ding Ding Trish Stratus was a fitness model.
Yeah.
So she was
Yes.
ripped and jacked, but she
it's like
wasn't
very defined but still lean.
Yes.
And still feminine. Like right, like
And
a
I
lot
don't
of
mean that in a bad way. Like
yeah,
it's-
but like a lot of the really intense next level bodybuilders, they stop looking like women.
yeah, their body starts
physically.
making testosterone.
Yeah.
It's just,
So she gets to the competition. She's got
this
some.
was the A24
this was
scene
the-
where she does start to freak out.
She gets up on stage. She's doing her posing. We've seen her all movie, and again, she was a bodybuilder, the actor. So she knows what she's doing. The poses look legit to me.
Oh, yeah,
Where again, like she's been in that world. She knows how to do the poses. But then she starts seeing visions.
she throws up Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, and it looked like
was
something
like,
out of Alien.
what?
It looked like
Yeah, it was
in
wild.
a slimy sack.
That
Like,
was
it
the first time where I was like, oh, because you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
It's like,
right. That's
whoa.
when it clicked for me. I go A24. There it is.
So she thinks that these girls are making fun of her, and I think they probably were.
Oh, for sure.
And so she runs over and beats
And
the shit out of one of them. Like, just, I was like, oh, she's going to kill that gal.
She did just throw up on stage. Though.
She did.
I mean, people are gonna have a reaction.
They're gonna
to
have a
that.
But we
reaction
saw
to
what
that.
she did to JJ, and so I was thinking the same thing. So
Right.
this was not like a little, I'm not pressing charges situation.
This
This
is
was
you're
a
going
you're
to jail.
hauled off to jail situation.
Well, and clearly, I mean, obviously, steroids can induce rage, but she clearly had anger issues to start.
Yeah, we
right?
get that. I think before
Well,
all of this, we get that.
the phone call.
Yeah.
So
you're a monster. So there's something going on in
she
her
calls and
world.
talks to her either brother or sister. I'm
It's her
guessing it says
brother.
don't ever fall in love because things have kind of fallen apart. And then the mom gets on the phone and says,
You're a
don't ever call
monster.
her, you monster.
And I wonder if that's because of her sexuality.
So that is so this is the question that I was going to bring up here. So we see that she has these anger issues that are definitely heightened by the steroid usage, but I think there is something maybe underlying. And so I think the question is, and maybe the audience is supposed to debate this, or you're not quite sure, did she leave home because of her sexuality, her bodybuilding, or something violent? And I don't know the answer, but she has some
and
trouble.
those things can be commingled. That
Sure.
can
They
be
could.
that can be
Absolutely.
an overlap in a Venn diagram. That like her sexuality was not received well, combined with the fact that makes her upset,
Right.
combined with the fact that she's and that if she was kind of pre bodybuilding, if she slapped somebody, that's going
Right.
to be a lot different than
Yeah.
post bodybuilding.
Post bodybuilding and jacked up on steroids.
Yeah.
Right.
So, clearly she had some kind of troubled home life, and that's why she ran away from home, and she was sleeping out under an overpass and didn't
Right.
have anywhere to go. But I tend to think that my read on it was more the sexuality. So even though she's big and strong and all that, and they call her a monster, but my kind of read was it was a commentary on family kicking you out because of your sexuality.
I don't think you're off.
But it leaves it up to the viewer to interpret why she's calling her a monster and don't come around here.
Right. So while Jack's in jail, she calls Lou.
Who meanwhile Miss Baryshnikov
Has moved in.
yeah,
Big time.
She's basically got her at gunpoint. She's like
Not
saw
here,
your-
not here, because they're at each.
well, but she knows she saw her
Right.
around the truck. So,
Right.
So that she's using that against her to move in. You know,
Yes. She's going to.
She's leveraging
Yeah,
that.
she's leveraging.
Yeah.
it. So Jack calls Lou, and Daisy answers and says, "Don't ever call." She doesn't want anything to do with you. Don't ever call here again.
Yeah.
So now Jack has lost. You know, we've got the family thing. We've lost this woman that she loves, and now she's stuck in jail. Again, this scene is super weird because Daisy's like butt ass naked in the kitchen, like dancing around. I was like, man, this is strange. Like, it's very weird. So Ed Harris shows up at jail and gets Jack out. And
She calls the only other person she knows that has money.
and he shows up. Oh, is that
Does
right?
she call him? See, I figured he.
I took that as
knew.
the
Oh,
cop.
I took it as she didn't know who else to call, and so she called her boss.
Okay.
See, because then
Could
they're
be.
like your guardian angels here. I thought that he showed up because he wanted to. He wanted to use her, so he's like all.
I thought he showed up because the cop from wherever they are called and said, "Hey,
the guy on his
your
payroll
gal's
or
in
whatever."
jail."
Yeah. But it's interesting.
She goes with Ed Harris, and they have a really good discussion in the car, a really good scene together. And he basically says, "You are free and clear," and gives her a gun with a silencer, and you need to like call me when it's done.
Well, he's like, you guys need my help. She's gonna leave.
You've bungled this so bad.
Yeah, he's like, I'm here to help you guys. I
Right.
want to help Lou. So if you want to help her too, but yeah, he gives her a little assignment.
This was a really good double
good.
a twist where I
Yeah.
was like, okay, so they're gonna kill Lou, but that wasn't the plan at
Yes,
all.
I thought he was giving her the gun to take out Lou at this point too. There was some
Right.
kind of read on that, like.
So this is the scene in the diner with Daisy and Lou, where Daisy's just like, "This is what I saw."
Another diner scene where they talk about crimes in the open.
Yeah.
I just cannot stand going to a public place. I know in a movie it looks cool, but imagine being the person in the booth right behind him, overhearing this stuff. You know, I mean, you're talking about
right.
crimes. You know, I called them and told them that she killed him. This or that. I'm like,
Shut up.
I just hate that.
Shut up.
In a movie, but it's a good movie, so it didn't ruin it for me.
right.
But,
Yeah, right,
but
right.
it is a
So
bummer.
basically, Daisy says, "I know all of this. I know you were in JJ's car the night he died. I know, you know."
And she's good. You got to give it to Anna Baryshnikov. She is creepy and menacing, and
all of the above.
the blackmailing her, the way that she says these things, like, you know, the first thing she says, like, that's interesting that I saw her around, like, she totally manipulating her and everything, and then is you know, pulling these strings behind the scenes and saying, like, I'm going to tell the cops that I saw her. And this is where Christopher's like, you don't want to do that because then they'll connect me to her.
It'll
And,
be a big mess. She's like, "Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. I'm so sorry." So we go back to Kristen Stewart's place, and they're having, you know, this gal, you know, they're about to walk inside. This gal pukes, and then this is a great scene where it's shot from Daisy's POV, and we see Kristen Stewart kind of start to turn around.
Kristen Stewart
and then
opens the door,
all of a
and
sudden
then
there's just like a blood splatter all over the place, and you're just like, "What the fuck?"
and then it cuts to Jackie standing there.
Well,
with
it's
a
like
gun.
I think Daisy falls, and there's Jackie behind Daisy with a gun, and then she takes off and runs. And I do, again, this is kind of very Coen Brothers-esque, where now Lou goes into cleanup mode again, where she's like pulling Daisy into the apartment.
Yes, it's that dark comedy where now she has to clean up this mess.
And you've got the feds knocking on her door.
Yeah, she has to hide a body while the feds are there.
The cat is licking the blood off the floor.
And they show that earlier. The cat will go up to any food and or whatever and get into it. And so now the body's there. And
right.
You're right. I mean, this is why it feels like early Coen Brothers. And
this is what I'm
they out Coened the Coen brother.
Did.
You know,
brother.
Yeah.
So she calls Ed Harris. She's like, "Get her out of this. What the fuck are you doing? Like, you tried to have me killed." She's like, "I didn't." He's like, "It wasn't you."
No, at this point, Ed Harris has kidnapped Jackie.
No.
Yeah, when she talks to Ed Harris.
Is that right?
Remember? Because then he's like...
Because she does run away, and she goes back to the house. You're right.
Because he's like, "I'm going to clean this up for you." He's like, "Listen to me this time. I've got it under control. We're going to plant this on her."
You're right.
And then that's when Kristen Stewart, she stands up to him and goes, "No, I'm going to tell the feds everything, this and the other." And he goes, "That was dumb," or whatever, and hangs up.
I think the line that got a laugh in the theater is she lays everything out, and he goes, "Are you blackmailing me?" And she goes, "Yep."
Yeah, there's this long
Oh, she goes,
pause
"Yep."
where she's like, "Yep."
Yeah.
And then he goes,
and that got a very good reaction in the theater.
And that's when he says something like, "That was dumb.
That was dumb,"
stupid."
and
Click.
hangs up.
Yeah.
So
he's got Jackie now. She's got a dead body and has to go after them.
Right. And now the cop shows up. the cop that is
Oh,
on,
right.
the cop that
That's
is on
when Ed
Lisa-
Harris says,
Ed Harrison's the
go
cop.
take care of her.
Yeah.
and she, she's lived this, and this is what I like about. It kind of reminded me of what was that awful Max Landis movie with Jesse Eisenberg. What was that?
American,
Also with Kristen
That
Stewart,
was
right?
American Ultra?
Yeah.
Yes,
American Ultra.
Where
Can't believe I remembered that.
that was impressive. But Kristen
It
Stewart's
is
in that, right?
Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart. I've never
Terrible
seen it.
movie. What?
Is it?
We did an episode on it.
Wasn't there?
Oh, lucky.
Never
son
seen
of-
it.
Lucky son of a bitch.
Yeah, I don't support Max Landis
No,
movies.
he's the
I guess
worst.
you're kind of a big fan, but
He made one good movie. Chronicle is a good movie.
and that Superman YouTube video was good.
Okay, that's fair. But the epitome of
I know, which is a bummer now.
waking up on third and thinking you hit a triple. The premise of that movie is Jesse Eisenberg is a double agent that he doesn't know.
They get activated.
Yeah,
by
and all of a sudden he's got all these skills that he didn't know he had. This
Another
is kind of
Manchurian
similar.
Candidate knockoff.
Yeah. This is kind of similar where we kind of know that Lou has these skills.
Right.
That's
that
what I'm
she used
saying.
to work for her dad.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what I'm saying. Is you see from her little dreams and everything, you're like,
Her hands
knows
aren't
more
clean.
than she lets on. Yes,
She's been a part of this
yeah.
world.
She's clearly like retired now and trying to do her own thing, but the dad did try to pull her in.
Yes.
And probably also alludes to why she's basically Lou Jr. He named her Lou,
Right.
wanted someone to carry on in the business. She's like, this isn't for me. And,
This is not- yeah.
And then when the mom left, it was like,
I guess it sounds like Lou kind of booked as well.
yeah. Well, because she thinks he killed her, so
I
it's
guess
like
that's
that's a
true.
step
She
too.
didn't book too far because the dad owns the gym. Right?
Right.
Like, she'll...
Well, like she still needs him, even
Well,
though
she does say though, I stuck around for you, for
That's
Jenna
true.
Malone.
That's-
like,
yeah.
I'm staying because JJ was
But
going
she
to kill
didn't
you.
get a job somewhere else.
That is true.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, she got a job
still
at the gym.
using the gym that
Using
he
her
owns.
dad's
yeah.
gym. Yeah, right. The cop shows up at Lou's place, and there's a shootout,
Yeah.
and Lou ends up killing the cop. And in my head, I was like, just stop what you're doing. Now you've got two dead bodies. That one killed that one, and now you're done. Like, just leave it alone.
She doesn't
Get
have
out
the
of there.
gun though. It wouldn't
got
match.
Both guns.
No.
Oh, you're
Jackie
right.
ran off with the gun, so the ballistics wouldn't match, and it would be
Yes.
fishy still.
And Daisy was shot from behind.
Behind. Yeah, that's true.
Glad I can teach you these cop things.
All right.
We're here to help.
Thanks. So
Let us know if you have any other questions.
I will, yeah.
We've learned everything we know from movies. We're pretty good.
So you're supposed to say
Back
you
and
have
to the
right
left.
to remain silent.
Yes, whatever you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
So she goes to the dad's
And I do like this is
hideout.
again. This is a funny scene where
Scarface mansion.
yeah, but where Ed Harris's wife is getting in the car and she was like, "You ruin everything," and then like as Lou is about to go in and kill her dad, it's just this random line where the mom's like, "Ugh, you're such an inconvenience."
worst.
You're the worst. So then we run into Jenna Malone is in the house and her face is still all fucked up.
Yeah.
And again, like it does. This is to
She
me,
knows, right? The dad told her
Yeah.
that she killed.
of course.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Lou was like, he was going to kill
Yeah.
you. Like,
my wife was saying, she's like, it's so odd the way this movie is constructed in that the only true victim in the film is the sister, and she's the one you have the least amount of empathy
Right.
for.
Yes.
You're just
Yes.
like, oh my god,
that's a great
But
call.
she's also very much a victim. She's damaged. She's brainwashed, right?
Yeah.
She's a battered woman who is like, oh no, she's the father of my children, and this and oh no,
he
he
didn't
would
mean it.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's sad because she's so
But-
clearly.
But then you get a look at the real Lou, where Jenna Malone, I don't remember the character's name, but Jenna Malone won't tell Kristen Stewart where Jack is.
Yeah.
Won't do it. So
Lou Jr.
Yeah.
Beth.
So
Beth.
Yeah.
There you go.
Bethany or Beth?
Beth.
Okay. So Lou like lunges at her and grabs her face where it's all messed up, like
Right.
and holds it.
Love you, sis. That was a good
That's
line.
a
That was
great
another.
line. That's another great line.
It's like she's still her sister.
Right,
She just
right.
beat her up.
Well-
but love you, sis.
I think the love you sis is kind of like a big old fu.
I don't know. It was funny though. That was
It's a
good
great line because she does. She grabs her by the face and like pushes
Well, she's
her
like,
down.
where is she? Where? Oh, she's in the guest
Corn something
the
or
guest
other.
house or whatever.
So we run down there and we see that Jackie's all tied up and they start to untie her, and
She
Jackie
goes, "Oh, I like this."
well, this is what I like is like instead of immediately going back to Lou, she's like, I'm out of
right?
here.
This family's crazy. I do like that, right? You've been tied up. What's your first instinct? Hang around or bolt?
The one that's going to turn on
GTFO.
you think the one that's going to turn on you, right?
Right.
Like this is her dad. She's not going to protect me.
Yeah.
And I do like that Kristen Stewart's like, I'm with you. Like
She jumps up on her back.
That's
and
another. This is where like it oddly becomes this strange like a very
It's a dark comedy.
wacky comedy where that's the "I love you, sis" line. It's her jumping on Jackie's back, trying to drag her down. And
But to
she
me, it
can't.
fits. It tonally fits.
Yes.
Where in
Right.
Driveway Dolls, none of it fits. It all feels just very mismatched tonally, and it's not funny. And they think they're just doing the most amazing. They really thought they were cracking the jokes, and people were.
This
looking.
makes that movie so much worse.
Oh, it does.
It really
This
does.
is so good. But it's funny. But it's that dark humor that blends in with this seedy Coen brother noir world.
Yeah.
But she talks to her and she's like, I'm going to protect you.
We're going to figure this out.
Yeah.
She's like, please just listen to me. There's a back road this way. You go that way. I'm going back in there to finish this. We're going to get it done. So she goes, Jackie takes off. Lou goes back into the house. Ed Harris shoots her in the leg. And
puts his hand in the bullet hole, finger in the... Oh.
That was not enjoyable. But this is the scene where I was like, what the fuck? So
but Jackie hears a gunshot and she turns around.
and she turns into the she starts to Hulk out.
Yeah.
And when I literally mean she starts to she tears out what we see is she tears out of her clothes and she's getting like bigger, muscular and bigger. And then all of a sudden
So to me, the way I read that in my artistic interpretation of it is that she's been using drugs and bodybuilding to become a bigger person and kind of running away from her family and her troubles, using working out to be bigger. But she turns around to save the person she loves and is actually becoming a bigger person. And this is a visual metaphor of her.
I think all of that is
being
fair.
bigger.
I don't disagree with you
Because it
at
clearly
all.
doesn't happen. She gets her in the car
Right.
afterwards. She's normal size. But
They don't go running through the clouds.
yeah, we're visualizing. And then Kristen Stewart, Lou, is seeing the woman she loves come and save her. She's
I
larger
thought-
than life to her.
Yes,
and
you are
she's-
absolutely right in all of that. But in the moment of watching it, you're
yeah.
like, what?
You're like, what
is
is happening here?
It almost took me out of it. Like
It did take me out.
I was very close until I started. I was like, okay, this is just a visual.
But it's A24 and they do weird
Right.
stuff. And they've been alluding to it the whole movie with her getting bigger and the muscles growing.
And that whole scene of her running is in the trailer.
We'll see, and that is why I'm glad I didn't see the trailer, because I went back to watch it for the darkness issue,
sure.
and I'm like, look at how much stuff they show. The last scene of the movie all throughout that trailer, because they showed the dead body getting up in the car, in the truck.
Oh, did they?
Of whatever her face. They show in the truck. It's like a funny moment in the trailer, but it's like in the theater, I'm like, oh my god, she's still alive. Like
It's a funny moment.
Well,
in the
I
movie
figured
too.
she was. It was either she was still alive or it was a poorly made movie because you can see her breathing.
Yeah.
when she's laying on the floor of the living room.
Right.
of the
Yeah, so
apartment.
Right.
but so like that was a surprise in the theater, and I would have been pissed if I'm like, oh, I already knew she was gonna do that. Like, I don't know, trailer suck.
Trailer, they do.
And the running away thing is such a big visual, like, what the hell is going on thing? Like, why is that in the trailer? Like, I don't know.
That's wild.
It's a bummer. But
So she's like, the feds are coming. Like, they're on the way. So the feds do show up. Ed Harris is caught. Our two main characters are driving away. And then this is the scene where we do know that they have put Daisy in the back of this truck. And this is Pulp Fiction. So I had just seen Pulp Fiction at the Draft House because I've never seen it on the big screen before. And it was great. They had a big...
did they have a menu? Did they have the Big Kahuna Burger and
Oh,
stuff?
you think I didn't eat it?
Oh, was
I
it
ate
good?
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. What about a Royale with cheese?
That's always on the menu.
That's always on
Yeah.
Okay.
They have a metric system over there.
Yeah.
So we see the carpet start to move, and Lou's like, "Come on, no way!" So they go back there, and of course,
Well, Jackie's passed out from her experience.
correct.
Right?
She's gone. She is out of the rest of this. She's there, but she's not.
But it is funny that Jackie's the big, strong one, and Lou's the one always cleaning up things and dragging
Right.
bodies around. I do think that's just visually a very funny.
This got a massive laugh in the theater until the thing happens, where they pull the truck over. Jackie gets in the back of the truck, and we see that Daisy's still alive. And there's this part does not get. It's the part after this that gets a laugh.
She suffocates
she
her.
chokes her out.
Yeah.
Doesn't even think twice.
Doesn't even. She's
just like, this
Yeah.
is a problem that needs
This
to
is
go
bad.
away. You are more of a problem alive than dead.
Yeah.
Well, and
right,
also,
right,
she's
right.
been blackmailing her and stuff, so I don't think she thinks.
No.
She's been bugging her, and now she's blackmailing her, so
Right.
she's like,
So the scene that gets a laugh, and what I love about this is they do it over the credits.
Right, yeah.
I think it's great. So
when she stops and lights up a cigarette and is like, "Oh my, I'm exhausted."
She's dragging Daisy.
Never going to end.
Yeah, that's kind of the feeling that I got.
Yeah.
She's dragging Daisy into the desert, and then she keeps dropping her, and she's like, "God damn it!"
Yeah.
And then the credits roll.
And I like how it's filmed right. Don't you see Jackie in the car, but it's like filmed
It's
through the car
it's
or
filmed
something.
through the driver's side
Yeah.
window, and yes,
Yeah, that's good.
I thought, and that's how this movie ends with the credits. I
And
thought
then
this
isn't there? I started walking out, but then there was still more credit stuff of her
was like them
holding her or
dancing.
something and dancing.
yeah,
and,
and like a red and black
But
silhouette.
yeah,
This is great.
it's good.
This is fantastic.
I really
loved it.
enjoyed this. Yeah.
Yeah, the her becoming giant-sized woman at the end kind of. I was like,
I get it.
I don't like that.
I get
it. It did. I felt like it didn't need it. Like
It didn't-
It really. It was working so well. Like it didn't need that moment for me.
It also the movie itself, with the exception of like the trippy scene on the stage, there is none of the A24 stuff until we get to here. And I was like, man,
It's just those two scenes. It's her really throwing up. I mean, aside from like the creepy vibes of the whole thing, but like the stage throw up and then the big thing.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just a pretty straightforward like
Crime thriller.
crime
I
thriller,
like noir,
dark comedy.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yep. This is this is the first like good movie I've seen this year. I feel like it's been a bad run.
We've been on a bad run.
Bad
I don't
run,
remember what
yeah.
all we've seen this year, but it's.
But I love Dune, and then didn't we see another one I liked?
There was something that we
Argo
all
I
liked.
enjoyed, but wasn't great.
No,
but
that
then
was bad.
what did we watch that I talked about where I'm like, oh, finally a movie? Maybe
There
it
was
just-
something. No, there was one.
Was there one?
I don't remember what it was.
God, it all blurs together.
It's all been surrounded by.
Yeah, right.
You know?
So anyway, I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21, and on Letterboxd at the same.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at Kevin R. Brackett.
And this is Tom. You can follow me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at Facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at Facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our Patreon at Patreon.com/Real Spoilers. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, Violet kills Caesar.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, 'cause we always